In this audience, we have moms who decided they were just fed up with indoctrination in their children's schools and decided to start a free Patriot camp and remind kids of history, teach it for maybe the first time. We have an amazing retiree who has heard me talk about Spooky Dude, George Soros, and now translates some of our shows into Chinese and sends them overseas where they're being picked up by the media over in. Oh, he must hate her. And sorry, Spooky Dude. We also have a teenager who says he'd like to become the next George Washington. We have people here who have been inspired by E4, the 40-day, 40-night challenge, 828. And we have a guy, Brian Sandberg. He came in from California. He has a story about taking part in a flash mob of kindness that he heard about on this program. Brian, how are you?
I'm great.
Good. Tell me the story.
Well, I gotta say that the flash mob of kindness was the most frustrating and the most rewarding day that I've ever had.
Usually are.
I heard about the flash mob on your radio program about a month prior and said, this is something that I have to do. And kind of planned for it for an entire month. I mean, it wasn't all that complicated. You had just asked to get some groceries and go give them to somebody that needed it.
Right.
And that was what I was going to do. I had a couple people in mind, and I decided that I was going to put your book, The Seven, as part of the gift. And
had you read it?
I had read it twice.
Wow.
And I went out to go buy a book, and there were absolutely no books available in any of the bookstores.
California.
So, I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. I said, well, it's going to mean even more. I'm going to give them my book, dog ears and highlighted and everything, to the person. But it posed a problem. Now I was giving something that really meant something to me, to a person that I didn't know. So instead of just going out and giving it to the first person that I thought about, I actually had to do a little research into the people I was doing. And I had two people in mind that didn't work out. The first person, I looked at for like about 5 minutes, and somebody came up, and then they just started counting out cash. They had been panhandling all day, and they're counting out $20 bills in front of the store. And the second person was two people that generally ask for money on the medians. And I grabbed my groceries and went out right in the middle of the median and said, "Here, I'd really like you to have this." And she turned to me and said, "Do you have any money?" And I go, "Well, no, I don't have any money. I just wanted to see if this could help you out." And she goes, "Well, we don't want your food. You know, if you're disturbing the people that are coming by. Can you?"
You're disturbing the people coming by.
And I was frustrated. I went back to my car. I loaded everything into my car, and I went home. I gave up. I absolutely gave up. And I was at home, and just it's like this was supposed to be easy. Then I thought to myself, maybe this isn't supposed to be easy. And I thought, and I remembered every day I drive to work, I see this guy coming from behind this bank, Wells Fargo, and he's always got his camping gear on. It's like he's going hiking. And it occurred to me, maybe this guy is sleeping behind the Wells Fargo. I didn't know. Young guy, 30-something, and I said, it was 10 o'clock at night. I had given up for the day. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I said, I'm going to jump in my truck. And I went in, and sure enough, there he was, like sleeping in the corner in the snook of the Wells Fargo. And I went out there and just sort of laid the bags down by his head, and I didn't want to wake him up, so I wrote a little note in the book. And
what'd you write?
Basically, the events in people's lives change from day to day, and this isn't much, but hopefully it'll help a little bit, and hopefully this will kind of jumpstart you into a better direction. And I just signed it, Someone Who Cares, and left. And went home. And when I went to work the next morning, I was getting ready to go to work, and I didn't see him on the corner. I mean, he's there like clockwork at 6:45. And I said, well, I'm going to go check the parking lot. So I drove by the parking lot because he was visible from where I was going to drive by. And there he was sitting. He was having a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich from the bags that I put, and he was sitting up against the wall and he was reading your book. So it was pretty emotional.
How did it change you?
You know, it didn't just change me. I realized later that you're probably one of the sneakiest people around.
Little old me?
You know, because the feeling that I got from that experience was something that I knew I was going to have to repeat. So,
Heroin.
yeah, exactly. And I knew that 421 was going to turn into 521, and then that was going to turn into 2 weeks later, and maybe 1 week later after that, I was like, Glenn's just created this little army of people that's now going to go out there and help people without subtly telling anybody to do it. I'm sure that that's what happened.
I will tell you, and we haven't even had a chance to tell this story on the air yet. There was a girl that is in high school, and she did the same thing, and she got addicted to it, and her friend that she grew up with had fallen on the wayside, and when they got into high school, I think she's a junior in high school, when they got into high school they fell apart and they weren't friends anymore because her friend went with all the bad kids and fell into drugs and everything else. And she's been reaching out and reaching out and reaching out. And one day, after this random act of kindness day, she told her friend, "You wouldn't believe how good it felt. You wouldn't believe what happened to me." Her friend was charged by that, and they had the first real conversation they'd had in 3 years. They're now back to being best friends. Her friend has moved away from the other friends, cleaned herself up, put herself back on. This is why I say it makes a difference. If you change, you'll start to affect other people. And the only way, I'm not going to change this through politics. Not going to change this through politics. The only way we're going to change this is one person at a time and being visible in your neighborhood. And people go, you know what? I like Brian. He's a good guy. And he does good things for people. And you being able to be a source of honor and trust in your neighborhood will make a huge, huge difference. I am convinced that in the end, if enough people do the things we talk about and connect with each other, I am convinced we will be remembered as the people that saved the Republic. I'm convinced of it. Back in just a second.